Hey YouTube, Space Badger here, and today we're going to review another One Piece Manga chapter, the latest chapter, chapter 932, the Shogun and the Courtesan. It's a pretty fun chapter, so let's jump straight in. If you're watching this, you know the events. I'll do a quick summary, I'll give you my thoughts, I'll give you some theories, and if you're finding me for the first time, because obviously this channel is really new, for one, I greatly appreciate you joining me. For two, I really hope you like enough already about what you can see, albeit not much, it's just me, to stick around and if you like everything I have to say, or don't, but you just find the way I say it interesting, then like, comment, and subscribe down below. Big red button, you know what to do, so let's go. So the cover page for this particular chapter, it's pretty good. It's Caesar writing some flyers where he is going to distribute for seeking employment for anybody who needs a gas/arms specialist to join their employ. Everyone needs a mad scientist, right? I'd love a mad scientist on my One Piece crew if I got one. I mean, Caesar can produce some deadly stuff. I mean, there's a bit of an expiry date on the deadliness, and not everything always works out, and there's a lot of bum projects, and he wastes a lot of money. But occasionally he gets stuff right? So, yeah. Although, having said that, I'm not sure how well thought out this employment strategy is, or job seeking strategy is, as the people he is handing it off to is some very snazzily well dressed goats who are immediately eating the flyers. And there's a particular goat in this picture that I quite like, who is reading the flyers on the back wall that Caesar is clearly stuck onto a cafe, but is just reading them while eating them, which is quite good. But yeah, let's actually go into the main events of the story. We start off with Kumorasaki in her full geisha outfit, playing her lute. I know it's not a lute, it begins with S, but she is strumming away with one of her, I think, classical ballads, which is very well known in the country of Wano, and everyone is kind of reacting as she's strumming away in her sort of kabuki mask that she is wearing, and everyone's loving the song, clearly knows the song, and appreciating the tones. I mean, a bit of a letdown that you don't get any kind of closure on some of the bigger reveals of the last chapter, any of the climax or any resolution to the fights with Sanji and with the stealth black raid suit. We don't get any more developments on Big Mom and Chopper and how that whole losing her memory dynamic is going to play out. It's a very much a Robin-centric chapter, which, well, Robin, Kumorasaki, Orochi, they're loving it. But we get some cool reveals, and obviously this is a chapter that it's not spectacular by any means. I mean, but it's essential plot movement stuff, so it's not a particularly action-packed chapter. That will come, I think, next chapter, but it's pretty fun to see some of the theories that got validated or refuted in this said chapter. So yep, everyone's loving the song, everyone's playing along, some people are singing along, and then we jump across to Robin, who is still obviously being confronted by the various Okimura ninjas who caught her snooping around the castle, and earlobe penis head man is saying, answer us, you only get this once. You're either going to die a painless death if you tell the truth, but if you lie, we will torment you, we will splice you, and we will all around make you beg for death. So yeah, pretty confronting situation, and it's like 15 on 1, so Robin's not in the best situations, but I'm sure it's Robin, I'm sure she's got a plan. And she actually comes up with a fairly convincing lie, actually. She says, I'm tracking the flow of money inside the flower capital, maybe implying she's with the CPs, with the world government in some fashion, trying to understand a bit more about how Wano is bankrolled, how the Shogun operates. Obviously, we know there's a huge disparity in terms of the distribution of wealth in Wano as a country. It's completely centralized within the Shogun and the sort of Kaido Beast Pirates executives, and literally no one else in the country has any food. So it'd be probably interesting to actually understand a bit of the social economic climates of Wano, and understand a bit more about how they keep that operation under lock and key, especially if you would be like a world government agent or sort of representing some other objective third party. So it's quite convincing, and Penis Head Man obviously goes, a prudent answer, catcher. And then they start throwing in the shurikens and pinning her up and hitting various points of the kimono to end it quickly. And just as they're going in for the kill, Robin busts out the clone no jutsu. She loves it. She falls away to pedals. She is Byakugan rocking it out. And no one knows what else is going on whatsoever. Everyone's reacting. And then we get a bit of a weird thing. We get all the ninjas, like, basically convincing themselves that it's ninjutsu or some sort of magical item. There's no kind of assumption or conclusion that there's any devil fruit powers at play here, which is odd. I would have thought that potentially some of the ninjas might have had devil fruits, and that's not to say that they may not. They just might assume that they're ninjutsu or some kind of ability, just like Kinemon and Raizo. Not so much Raizo, but just as Kinemon and Kanjuro do not believe they have devil fruit powers, they believe they have some other power. Yeah, this doesn't make much sense to me. I just think, wouldn't you assume that at least the ninjas have some sort of working or interactional relationship with the beast pirates? Like, yeah, it just surprises me, the sort of segregation of information in the Wano hierarchies. I mean, it once again lends some credence to the fact that Kaido does not rate Orochi in the slightest. Although I do have a little theory at the end of this chapter, which I'll talk to, which I think will be quite interesting. So Robin's relieved. She's glad that the clone jutsu, or the clone escape trick from her Harry powers has successfully worked and allowed her to get away. She calls in support from Nami and the rather older ninja lady whose name I've completely forgotten about, and also Brooke is on the outskirts of the interior of the castle, also hoping to help. So anyway, the ninjas start looking around, start trying to track down Robin, and Robin very cleverly decides to hide in plain sight, that old moniker, and returns to the banquet hall, which upon Orochi immediately recognizes, calls her over, and puts her in the center of attention, which Kumorasaki isn't too big a fan of. I mean, of course, we all know where they're going with Kumorasaki at this point. It's definitely Hiyori. It's definitely Momo's younger, but of course now significantly older sister. And I get that it's going to be one of those situations where we don't like her initially, and then we get the tragic backstory, and we find out that 20 years of her life have been purely hellish, and she's slaved and dogmatically worked and trashed away in whatever fashion, in whatever way she can, to put herself in a position of some kind of influence within the country of Wano, while not revealing her true identity. But we've seen this so many times now, and I feel like, especially with Pudding in the Whole Cake Island arc, that trope wore a little thin for me. And like the Pudding reveal at the end that she was basically bipolar was interesting. I didn't mind it. It was a nice twist on it. But I think there has to be some kind of twist here with Kumorasaki. If it's just another tragic backstory and we all flip our opinion, I'll just be going, yeah, standard Oda trope. We're definitely rushing towards the end of the story at this point. Like, I don't listen to editor comments, but we're definitely getting there, right? Like, Oda is significantly ramping up. So I hope with some of these kind of One Piece character trope developments, he does some more unique twists. Because I don't want to be strung along again like Pudding was for so long. Is she? Isn't she? Is she? Isn't she? Is she? Isn't she? It just wore me pretty thin by the end of it. Just reveal that she's a good girl and give us the tragic backstory and get it out of the way early is basically what I'm saying. Anyway, so Kumorasaki is once again trying to steal attention back from Robin, while Robin is, of course, hiding in plain sight, but obviously trying to still be discreet and stealthy with the presence of the ninjas who are popping up through the top of the floorboards. They're looking on. And then we get to the halfway point of the chapter and what effectively ends up being the main focus of this chapter, which is Orochi's ridiculous monologuing well, ridiculous in the eyes of everybody at the party, but actuality is completely accurate in every single facet of every single detail that he's calling out, i.e. his dread of the 20-year ago prophecy, that the ghosts of that era will come back to try and rebel and dethrone Wano. And Robin has probably the singular only reaction to this, which might give the impression that, holy shit, he's onto us. Everyone else, though, in that camp is like, this one again? Really? Another fucking monologue about 20 years ago? Come on, dude. Man the fuck up. You're an 8-headed python. Grow some balls. Like, honestly, that's kind of the reaction of everyone. Of course, no one says that. Kirishiro has a pretty good reaction, being like, boss, what are you worried about? I'll kill them all. I'll just slice them down. They can't be that strong. But doesn't really stop Orochi whatsoever by continuing his monologue and continuing his frantic threats and misgivings and concerns upon the entire party, clearly bringing the whole mood of the sort of celebratory atmosphere down a couple of pegs. And Robin, of course, makes the observation that Orochi appears to believe in these legends to a fault, but his underlings don't, so I can't say I blame them, because, yeah, it's not very believable, is it? People are going to rise up again after 20 years of not even being present to overthrow a country that basically comprises of a 8-headed serpent and a bloody fucking dragon Yonko who's never been killed no matter how much he tries to kill himself. Seems like a pretty unrealistic situation. But Otoko has the best reaction to this, which is just to burst out laughing. She's just like, what a fucking idiot! Like, why is he so inside his own head? What is wrong with him? Why does he think that, like, any of this is true? Why is everyone else playing along with this? Why aren't they all making fun of it? This is ridiculous! Which is very good. I love it. I always love the child reactions in One Piece. I always love how comedically they're drawn, and Otaku's face in all these panels is genius. So Robin, of course, screams out to Otoko. Kumorasaki pauses for thought, being like, what's going to go on here? And we get a pretty intimidatingly unintimidating panel shot of Orochi sort of pulling out his katana and getting ready to slice Otoko down, because he don't care. Anyone who laughs at the Shogun, the strongest guy in the room, probably not, whatever, but the most authoritative figure in the room at least, is got to be served a death sentence, and a very swift one at that, at the hand of his sword. And then we get a very odd panel where he kind of slices the boards of which Otoko was kind of behind while she was laughing, because she was not in perfect view. And I'm kind of like, what, like, is that it, dude? You can't, your aim's not even good enough that you can't even get a girl, really? Alright, so you are, by all accounts, complete and utter trash. Then you certainly don't have any observation, Haki, because you had clearly no idea where she was / going to be. And then we get Kumorasaki just coming in and pimp slapping the dickhead immediately. It's a pretty good pimp slap, man. She must move fairly swiftly because, of course, Orochi has covered a fair amount of ground to cut Otoko, across the room. And she is just there and present before he even finishes his slice through the sort of boards that Otoko was behind. And just bang! Good force, good battle damage, good slap all round. And everyone's just absolutely shell-shocked. Otoko passes out by the situation. She just says, I refuse to bow to anyone who would ever try and kill a child. But everyone's like, what the hell are you doing, woman? Grovel, get down. What on earth? But yeah, she has a very good pose, and this is the sort of beginning of the turning point. We got that kind of the backstory before that she rips off older men, but who cares, whatever. This is when we really get to see what I assume to be the true character of Kumorasaki as she's standing up for her retainer, and ensuring she isn't killed. And she says, if you wish for a weak woman, then by all means kill me and toss me aside, which of course, because she is the daughter of a warrior, which prompts Orochi to burst into his Yamato no Orochi form, which I think is a smile. That's that's going to be my conclusion here. I don't think it's an actual devil fruit. I think kind of the goofiness of it, because one thing we've seen fairly consistently with some of the devil fruit transformations here is that yes, there are features of the zone transformation that retain uh, um, sort of characteristics, like that Kaido has his massive beard and so forth, even in his Shogun form, but they turn into said creature, like they are in their beast form, in their fully transformed form, which is what Orochi goes into. They are that figure, they are that mythical beast, they are that beast, period. They don't look like a goofball. What looks like the goofballs are the smiles. So I wonder if this is the apex of what was the smile experimentation performed by Caesar, if this was actually the best he ever managed to produce when trying to mimic the fruit created by Vegapunk, which Nosuke took, because at least it's the 8 heads, at least it's got some menace to it, at least it's got a physical frame, at least it has control over the transformation, but it's still a goofy transformation. It still lacks the intimidation factor that most zone devil fruits have, and it certainly doesn't give the impression that he's got any special abilities that might be associated with a mythical zone. So yeah, I think there's just enough to hint to the fact that this is a smile, and I think that also kind of somewhat lines up with the fact that Oda chose to put the cover page as Caesar Clown to kind of emphasize the fact that maybe this is the apex of his work. So I think that note about, him seeking employment, there's a sort of subtle dichotomy here, just in the terms of the selection of the fan requests that he put and the ending point of this chapter, which I believe demonstrates that, yeah, Orochi, I think, probably has the best smile fruit that was ever created. And then, of course, Robin grabs Otoku amongst the chaos, or at least amongst the transformation delay, grabs her and runs. The ninjas find her, chaos breaks out, and Kirishiro just draws his blade and says, "This is now a bloodbath." What's interesting about this is I think it's potentially vague enough whereby Kirishiro might flip. I'm not sure he's actually a bad guy. I think he's charismatic enough as a character. I know there's all that stuff about him having the face-off with Sanji, but I don't know. I just get some sense from him as a character that he has not particularly much respect for Orochi. I don't think he really buys into a lot of these concepts, and I think he's just a bit of a mercenary. So I think there's an opportunity here that he would just that by the end of this Wano arc, he might not actually find himself fighting with or for the current Wano regime. He might become more of a sort of bystander, or potentially even just flip entirely. And that's the end of the chapter. I mean, it's not, as I said before, it's just your standard setup stuff. It's a pretty good chapter. The reveal at the end of it was by far the best. The double page spread is very well delivered and drawn. The pacing in the chapter is good. We get through pretty much all of Robin's events unencumbered, so I like the progression. It's keeping this general theme to Wano that we're going to start running through this now. This is going to be an arc that might be as long as Dressrosa, but I think it's going to get to the events of each sort of sub arc very well. And it's pacing things extremely well. So I think there may be one more chapter wrapping up the castle invasion situation with Robin, and then I think we'll start pulling on the storylines associated with Big Mom, as well as coming back and resolving what was the Sanji situation is what that was. Yeah, I knocked my computer over, sorry, and I'm not good enough at video editing yet, but I can rectify that. I'm getting there. I'm learning. One Piece YouTube content is difficult, and I don't have any video editing background. I'm learning. YouTube is helping me learn it, but I will figure out the splicing and editing of all this stuff in the coming days, weeks, months, I am sure. But so forgive me for that. And just to wrap up the thoughts, really, just to say that I reckon from here on out, we're going to continue to really run at the major events of this arc. So if you liked anything I had to say, like at the top of the video, I asked you to like, comment, subscribe. If you stayed with me to the end, even amidst that kind of unprofessional dropping of said equipment, yeah, my bad. Thank you for one. Thank you for finding me. Thank you for checking out my channel. Yeah, obviously new to all of this, new to the content. I'm going to keep this up though. I love doing this. I love publishing videos. I love learning new skills. I love, well, I'm just really enjoying the ride really. So yeah, keep subscribe, notify, comment. I'm really I'm doing this to find out how my thoughts resonate with you, the viewer. So, you know, I don't care about you viewing stuff till the end even. I don't even really care that much about getting loads of views on every videos, and I'm not even in this for the monetization game. I'm like, maybe, hopefully, but I don't care. I'm doing this to kind of scratch a creative niche, basically. So just comment. Like, honestly, if out of everything I would really like you to do, obviously subscribing is the most important thing to any YouTube channel, but second one to me is commenting. I genuinely want to just have some more conversations, intelligent or not, with people who are the fans of the things that I love. So yeah, might start the video saying something like that actually next time. So hope you liked it, hope you enjoyed it, hope you love One Piece. We all love One Piece. Peace.